Hello students, my name is Bhavna Singh. I am working as an assistant professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. This is an online tutorial series on e-commerce. So let's begin today's session. Students, in the previous session we have discussed about the basic concepts of electronic data interchange and its various benefits and components. In this session we will continue with the EDI agreement, EDI communication, what are the various standards for EDI, like we will talk about ANSI, X12 and EDIFACT standards. Then we will discuss about the EDI security, and at the end we will talk about EDI implementation. Let's start today's session with the first topic, that is what is an EDI agreement. EDI agreement is the abbreviation of Electronic Data Interchange Agreement. It is an agreement that regulates through computer the transfer or exchange of data such as purchase order between parties. The electronic data transferred under an EDI agreement are arranged according to an agreed standard such as the American National Standards Institute, that is ANSI X12 standard, or UN EDIFACT. It enables the computer in one organization to communicate with a computer in another organization without producing any paper documents or human intervention. That means these agreements, they are kind of a contract, you can say, between the parties, that is the buyers and the selling companies, and it specifies all the terms and conditions and all the rules and regulations that both the parties have to follow, and they have to specifies all the procedures, all the processes, and all the set of agreement formats that both the parties have to follow, all the guidelines for the electronic interchange of the data. So these are the basic agreements, or these are the basic guidelines that both the parties that are involved in the trading, they have to follow. And this agreement, it also regulates or monitors all the transfer of exchange, all the transfer of documents, that is the purchase order or your invoicing or your EFT, that is electronic fund transfer. So all these things, they are monitored and regulated under these specified agreements only. And this agreement, it also enable these computers, that is the buying and selling company computers, so that they'll be able to communicate with each other, and they'll be able to exchange this information without using any human intervention or without using any paper. So basically we can say that this agreement is governing the entire process or entire procedure, that how these selling and buying companies, they will communicate with each other, and how they will exchange all the documents with the using this electronic mode. Now we will discuss how both the parties that are involved in the trade, they communicate with each other. That means how they send the purchase order, and in turn the suppliers, they send the invoicing and all the payment or all the interchange of documents, how this occur between these two parties. So there are two kinds of communication between these parties that are involved in the trading of goods and services. One is between the company and the provider, and involves the company's own file formats, that is the company that is using its own internal computer system or internal application for generating the purchase order or generating the invoice. Then the other is between the service provider and the company's partner, that both of them, the service provider that is providing the services to the company, that is basically the selling company, you can see, and the company's partner is the buying company. So two types of communication takes place, and how this communication occurs, that first of all, the buyer makes a buying decision, that whatever he wants to buy, it creates the purchase order for that, but does not print it, because now all the purchase orders, they will be generated on the computers, buyer's computer, and they will be sent automatically with the help of these EDI translators, and there is no need to print it, or there is no need to email it or fax it. The EDI translator automatically translate it into the standard format and send it to the suppliers. Then what happens, this EDI software creates an electronic version of the purchase order and transmits it automatically to the supplier. That means the buyer has generated the purchase order, and what happens now, the EDI software, that is the translator, it creates the electronic version of that purchase order and transmits it to the suppliers automatically over the communication network. Then the supplier's order entry system receives that purchase order from the buyer, and updates the system immediately on receipt. So whenever the suppliers they get the receipt about the purchase order, they start saving it into its own system. That means they are updating it into its own system. Then they on the basis of these purchase orders that they have received from the buyer, these suppliers they create an acknowledgement and transmit it back to the buyer with the help of this confirmed receipt. That means they have received the purchase order, and on the basis of that order they create a acknowledgement receipt and send it back to the buyers over the communication network only. So this is how the entire communication is taking place, and the EDI translator, how it is automatically transferring or how it is automatically translating all the electronic version of the purchase order as well as the invoicing and payment into the standard formats that are presented by the national or the international levels. In the previous session also we have discussed about some standards that both the parties, that is the buying company and the selling company, they have to follow certain standards or certain formats. So what are these EDI standards and who has developed these standards, we will discuss now. Now what is this EDI standards? When e-business started, the need for common standards was felt as there were many different types of computer systems and different ways of storing data. Since the sender and the receiver in the EDI systems had to exchange business documents that could be interpreted by all parties, so therefore it became necessary to develop standards in EDI. That means that whether there are two companies or there are more than two companies, each of these companies has certain types, or you can say certain formats of their internal computer systems in which they generate the purchase order or in which they generate the invoicing, and but because they are following the same patterns and they are doing it electronically, so some standard format has to be developed so that both of them can agree upon these standards, and because in this no human intervention is required and everything has to be done automatically, so it is a bit necessary to follow some standards or some format that is described by the national or as well as the international levels. So therefore we have discovered two major EDI standards. The first one is X12, which was developed by the Accredited Standards X12 Committee of the American National Standard Institute. That is, X12 is one of the standard that is developed by ANSI, and the second international standard was developed by the United Nations EDI for Administration, Commerce and Trade, that is EDIFACT. So basically X12 and EDIFACT are the two common EDI standards that were evolved in order so that in order to make agreements or in order to so that avoid any kind of paperwork and any kind of human intervention, and both the trading companies that are involved in buying and selling of goods and buying and or exchanging of information, they can follow certain standards or certain format so that the functioning of this EDI can be done in a smooth manner, and all the information between these two companies or between these two trading parties can be exchanged using a common format. Now let's discuss this ANSI X12 standard first. The Accredited Standards Committee X12 was set up by the American National Standards Institute, that is ANSI, in 1979 to develop across country standards for exchanging electronic documents for use by all businesses in the United States. This ANSI X12 or standard is commonly referred to as only the X12 standard, and this standard it sets the framework and rules for electronic data interchange. The ANSI EDI standard defines the data structure and content for business transactions transmitted between computer applications. That means this X12 format, it describes all the format or first how to structure the data and all the types of documents that should be transmitted electronically, and all the identification number for various forms that we are using, and the codes for a variety of fields or what type of information that should be transmitted, and this also defines the entire sequence of the information flow. So all these descriptions that are described by these standards, both the parties they have to follow these format, and they have to agree upon these standard formats so that a common format, or you can say a common mode of information exchange can be followed by both these companies. Then the second, we have an international standard for this EDI exchange of documents, that is EDIFACT, and it was announced by the United Nations in 1987. This EDIFACT standard is promoted by the United Nations Economic Commission, which is responsible for the adoption and standardization of messages. The International Standards Organization, that is ISO, has been entrusted with the responsibility of developing the syntax and data dictionary for EDIFACT. This EDIFACT standard serves the purpose of trans-border standardization of EDI messages. That means this EDIFACT is a complete set of internationally agreed upon standards, you can say, or internationally agreed upon formats with both the companies that have to follow these standards, and it also provides all the directories and guidelines for the electronic interchange of the all the information and all the data that is related to particular trade in goods and services. And these EDIFACT standards, they provide certain attributes, that they provide the identifier, or we can call this as a code dictionary, in which all the description about the code is present. Then it also provides the title and the plain text description, in which description about the goods and services and regarding the companies who all are trading is mentioned. Then the format, it also includes the length, or you can say the data type or class which they are following, and also the year of insertion is mentioned in the directory, along with all the previous issues that were there in the trade agreements. So all these things are the attributes, they are provided by the international standard, that is EDIFACT, and both the companies that are providing or that are trading with each other with the particular goods and services, they have to follow these formats and they have to follow these standards, so that a common mode of trading can be followed. So in short, we can say that this EDIFACT and this X12, they are the becoming more and more widely accepted format for using these EDI formats. Now, what is EDI security? An important aspect of EDI, electronic data interchange, is the security of messages during exchange. It should be ensured that the interchange of message is reliable. That means in using this EDI software, we are doing the exchange of documents, and these documents can be confidential also, and we are exchanging all the documents and all the information regarding the personal information or regarding your confidential information. So we are exchanging the data or confidential information over the network, and without using any paper or without using any human intervention. So we should be ensured that the data, whatever data we are transmitting or whatever information we are exchanging, it should be secure enough over this EDI network. So the value added network, that is the WAN of this EDI network, it allows two parties so that they'll be able to securely exchange all these documents and data, and it allows the business partners to send and receive messages by producing a full audit trail, so that whatever messages they are exchanging over the EDI network, it becomes secure enough, and they will be able to do it or exchange the information securely with each others. And we will discuss various ways so that of providing this EDI security to the users as well as the trading partners. Let us now discuss some aspects of EDI security which is provided so that the information that is exchanging will be secure. So the first one is the controls in the EDI standards. That means this EDI standards or EDI formats, they have certain control measures that are designed so that they can protect some error in the messages, and they can protect against the corruption of messages or any damages of the messages during the interchange of the information between the trading partners. Then the second, we have the controls in the transmission protocol. These transmission protocol, they are designed so that they can provide the protection and to the confidential information that we are exchanging over the network, and it can also detect any kind of damages or any kind of corruption that can occur during this transmission process. Then the next, we have the protection against tampering. Tampering means we are intentionally modifying the confidential information or any data. So this tampering should be protected by using some digital signatures, and these digital signatures, they are designed to ensure that the message is received exactly the same as the message was sent, and in between the message is not intercepted and it is not modified by any other third parties. So we can use the concept of digital signature, or as well as we can use the transmission protocol, or we can use certain control measures so that whatever information we are sending, it should receive by the receiver securely and safely. Then the next we have the privacy of message. Privacy of message means that whatever information we are sending, we should encrypt it in some or the other form, so that the privacy of the messages that we are sending, or the information, confidential information that we are sending, it can be protected by using these encryption of data. And this encryption is the process in which we encode the message or information in such a way that only the authorized party, that is the receiver to which the message is intended to send, only that trading partner can read it. Then the next we have the non-repudiation. Non-repudiation means it is used to ensure, or it is used to acknowledge that whatever transferred message has been sent completely and it is received by the parties that can claim to have sent and received the messages. So we can obtain this by using some digital signatures, or the confirmation services, you can say, or the acknowledgement from the receiving partners, and using the timestamps, so that we'll be able to ensure and we'll be able to acknowledge that whatever message we have sent, or whatever message is sent by the sender, has completely and securely received by the receiver. So these are the basic aspects by which we can provide the security to the information that we are exchanging over the EDI network. That means whatever information we are sending, it should be encrypted, and we should use the process of digital signatures, and we should use some control measures and transmission protocols, so that whatever information we are sending, it should be secure. So students, so far we have discussed about the various EDI benefits, and what is EDI, its various components, and how it provides security, or how to provide the agreement between the trading partners. The question arises now that how all these things, they take place in actual, or how is this EDI implementation takes place. So this EDI implementation, it starts with an agreement between a company and its trading partner. First of all, both the companies, that is the buying company and the selling company, they agreed upon a standard format, or you can say they agreed upon a standard contract between both the parties, and these parties, on the basis of that agreement, they decide all the standards that they will use, and the nature of the information that we will exchange between the both the companies, and the network carrier or a value added network that both the companies will use, and all the communication that will occur on these value added networks, and the mode of information transmission, that is by which mode they will exchange the information. And then an efficient EDI system requires that the data be input only once, and the system manages the rest. That means the data should be exchanged, or should be moved without much intervention of the human or trading partners applications, and no additional steps will be required in order to process these instructions. So the entire ED implementation is based on certain processes, like they have both the parties, like the buying and the selling parties, they have to follow common EDI standards that we have discussed, and that means they have to follow the common formats. Then the second is the translation software that should be installed in each of the company's computer system, so that it will be able to automatically generate the purchase order and transmit it to the suppliers, and at the end of the supplier, the translation software should be automatically generate the invoicing based on that purchase order, and retransmit it to the, or you can say sends back to the receiver. Then the trading partners should be involved, that means the customers and the suppliers with whom the business is conducted. And obviously the last one is the network over which all the communication for the businesses that will exchange or all the information exchange, or all the data exchange with between these parties will be conducted. So four major things we have in implementation, that is the standards that both the companies have to follow, the translation software, the trading partners, and the network, that is the value added network. So students, now we have discussed almost all the parts of this EDI, and these are the most important concepts of unit 4 from the examination point of view also. And with this session we are ending with our unit 4 also. So these are the questions that can be framed based on today's session. The first one is, what do you understand by ED standard and EDI security? Explain in detail. In this you have to explain both the standards, that is X12 and EDIFACT standards, and you have to explain all the security aspects also. Then the second, we have to explain EDI agreement and its importance in detail. That means what is an EDI agreement and what are the companies that are involved in this agreement and why it is important for the trading companies. So students, it's time to end the session here only. I hope you have understood all the concepts of EDI, and with this session we have completed our unit 4 also. You all take care of yourselves, keep learning, and thank you so much for watching.